Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Hope you're doing grand and all's well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Today's vid, everybody, we are going to be changing the scratch plate on my Fender ST62. We're going to be changing it for this one. This one is an aged scratch plate, and I recently bought this from Golden Era Guitars, Mr. Scott the Genius, who lives over in Ireland, and it's absolutely stunning. I don't know how well it will come across on camera, but you can kind of see it's filthy. It's got that really cool aged look. It's got the screw holes in the right place. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I recently bought that, and Scott is the genius behind this burst on this guitar. It's literally my favourite sunburst I've ever seen in my life. And have it on one of my guitars is just insane. So, if you don't know this guitar, people with tube, if you're new to the channel or say you haven't seen this guitar before, this initially it is a 1990s Fender ST62 Strat reissue. And I bought this a while ago, and it was just black. You know, it was just a black like 1.5mm polyurethane finish. And I kind of set myself a challenge with it of going, well, I wonder how close I can get this thing to look and feel like an old 60s Strat. So I recarved the neck to be a lot like my actual 62 Strat. It's extraordinarily close to an old vintage Strat now. Redid the dots, they're clay dots in there now. Got period correct hardware apart from the neck plate. And basically, and Scott refinished the body in nitro and relicked it. It has got a bit more relicked up because I play this guitar quite a lot, and it's actually my main live standard tuning guitar. Actually, I use this live a lot because I love it. There have been a couple of gigs where I haven't used it, but the gigs where I do use it, I just kind of, it's just dawned on me now that I don't want to play a live gig without this guitar there. And let's say the relic job on this and the nitro is just insane. Scott's a genius, absolute genius, as can be attested to by his scratch plates as well, because that is incredible. I will show you this next to my 62 Strats scratch plate before we get into changing the scratch plate on this, just to show you how close this is. But it is a mint green one. It's got all like this dirt kind of thing. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. If I get it in the shadow, you can kind of see around where like the volume knob and whatnot, the tone knobs will be. There's all kind of dirt and dirt around, like, you know, under the strings where it all collects. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. It's, like I say, screw holes in the right place. It's not on this one. I'll talk a bit more about that in a sec. But anyway, I do have more videos on the ST62 and the kind of like the process of what it went through and whatnot. Anyway, without further ado, people of the tube, well, first things first, let me show you Scott's scratch plate compared to my original celluloid scratch plate on the 62 Strat. And then we'll get to getting rid of the strings on the ST. It needs a restring. These strings have had it now. They're just dead. These have been on this guitar for a long time. And they still sound okay, but they could do with just a bit of a spruce up. There's a couple of bends and kinks in it from where I've been kind of like laying into it, and the strings are just a bit warped, and as a result they're a bit dodgy. Anyway, but yeah, let me show you Scott's plate next to the 62 Strat, and then we'll get to changing the scratch plate. I'm going to talk through the process as well of how to do it. If you've never done it before, I'll talk you through it, and also a couple of other things as well. We'll talk about historical things, well, what I know, which is not much, but anyway. Let's go to the first part. Good day, people too. So this is actually very, 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 very hard to pick up. So this is an original Fender celluloid guard from 1962. So if I use the diffuser light as a kind of thing, you can see the texture of it. These things are very, very shiny, and they have kind of like you can kind of see where it's shrunk, and the screw holes are kind of like sunken. A bit more of it. They're just a bit smoother, and they don't scratch up like plastic ones. Like there's no kind of fingernail scratches, plectrum scratches on here. They don't do that. You know, they just don't do that because they're not a plastic. Celluloid is a very weird material. Anyway, hopefully you can kind of see. Mine does have some scratches on it, but that's kind of like not from plectrum wear. It's just from general upkeep and cleaning on the plate. It looks like it was sandpaper, but I don't actually know. That happened before I got it. So, and again, like there's kind of like rolled edges on the scratch plate. They're very, very smooth. And again, the main problem with these old celluloid guards is they shrink over time. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but maybe if I get a torch. Hang on a minute, people with tubes. Yeah, bear with me 1 second. Okay, so again, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I don't know if that's helpful. Yeah, there we go. Kind of. You can see the neck and the scratch plate are kind of like they're apart from each other. Originally, the scratch plate would have been together. They would have been kind of like, as one, so to say. But like I say, over the years, celluloid shrinks. And as a result of that, you get gaps. You also get kind of screw holes where the screw is kind of pulled backwards because this whole scratch plate is kind of like shrinking into itself. Also, another thing that you invariably see is they break here on the neck pickup. So they crack there, and what that does, it forces the neck pickup higher and causes all sorts of problems and stratitis with the pickups. Kind of like they create this kind of weird overtony thing, and it's not very nice. Mine luckily has not done that. I have Scott's didn't come with a simulated brake, but I have actually put one in. I have actually broken it because on the ST62 I actually have a brake in it, and I actually quite like the look. So I have put a simulated brake into Scott's plate. Anyway, so there you go. You can kind of see what it looks like. Anyway, so hopefully you can kind of see the colour. I don't know. It's really hard to capture mint green on scratch plates on thingy. But anyway, so this is an original, and here comes Scott's. Now, can anyone tell the difference in colour? Because I'm struggling. It's extraordinarily close. It is ridiculous. And also, again, if I put that on top of the 62, if I use the diffuser light again, you can see there's a shine to it, and also kind of like the edges are all, they're kind of domed in. They're not like hard edges. It's all really smooth. And again, just like that, hopefully you can kind of see up this kind of like simulated dirt. It looks amazing. It really is amazing. I cannot rate Scott's work enough. It's amazing. And again, if you look at the screw holes, you can see how like smooth they are. They're not sharp edges. There's no sharp edges, and the sides of the scratch plates, it's all kind of like rounded. It's very, very nice. So yeah, I mean, and the colour is incredible. Hopefully that comes across, so you can kind of see it. I would say Scott's is a little bit darker by like 1%, but other than that, it's really extraordinarily close, and that is insane. That is so cool. So anyway, PeopleTube, there you go. You can really see the dirt on that thing. It looks amazing. I cannot wait to get this on. So in the thing of that, let's go. Let's get this put on this. Okay, PeopleTube, strings it off. Now we've got to get the scratch plate off. So I'm going to start with the screwdriver the wrong way around. That's clever, isn't it? Let's round out the screw, Dave. Okay, so when I take screws out of the guitar, I like the same screws to go back in the same hole. So I just basically put them on the floor, which is where I normally do everything, just in a pattern, the same pattern they come out in. So basically it ends up in like a square, if you will. So when I'm done changing out the plate or whatever I'm doing, maintenance or whatever, the same screw goes back in the same hole. I just prefer that. In a neurotic kind of way, I feel that the guitar is happier when the screws are in the same place. Anyway, enough about Dave's weirdness. Moving along. So the scratch plate I've got on here is just your bog standard kind of like mint green one, and in all fairness, does the job. It looks great. There are some historical inaccuracies though with it. Considering, well, to an extent. I'll talk about them in a second. So, this guitar is supposed to be like a 62 Strat, ST62. So I wanted a certain few things, and that weren't on this plate, so I had to kind of modify it slightly. So number one, historic inaccuracy with these modern guards is you don't get this kind of truss rod adjustment cut, if you will, in the top of the plate. Scott's has got them, but invariably you don't get them, so I had to add one on this plate, and I'll show you that in a minute. Another thing as well is this screw hole here is in the wrong place. It should be there for a 62 Strat. In 63, 64, they moved it back here. But for 62, 61, 60, with these three ply guards, the hole is there. And it's always bugged me that it's not in the right place. Not a problem anymore, as you can see. It is in the correct place. It's not here anymore. It's moved to the right place. So I'm very happy about that. So that's another historic one, actually. Another thing as well, if you want to be really nitpicky, like I say, is the roundness of his scratch plate. There's a lot of hard edges, around the sides. All the edges are really kind of like, right angled off, whereas like on the old ones and Scott's here, they're a lot more rounded and a lot more smooth. So, anyway, another thing as well to note, people too, these old 60s Strats, under the scratch plate, have a shielding plate, an aluminium shielding guard, and this is actually separate to the scratch plate, and you can see it here, and I'll show you it more in a minute. But yeah, this is kind of important to get that kind of the right look, if you will, of the old look of these old 60s Strats. So scratch plate's free. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to undo all the screws. So neck pickups out. The neck pickup to start with. Unscrew out all the way. And again, same thing with these screws, the pickups. I like them to go into the same pickups. I don't like mixing and matching screws. The ones that come out are going to go back in. So the neck pickup ones go over there. I'll collect the springs inside in a minute. Historic accuracy should state that I should use kind of like tubing. This kind of like rubber tubing. That's what Fender used on their pickups, but I don't like that stuff. I actually, it kind of eventually goes weird as well. So I don't like to use it. So I use springs. Springs are better, more reliable. Your pickups like it more as well, and you can move them more. It's a lot easier. Okay, so that's the pickup screws out. We can take the football off the selector switch. That little bit of plastic. Put that over there. Let's try and get these covers off. Might need my spoon. A spoon is a very important tool for guitarists to be carrying around, people tube, because what you can do is you can get it underneath your volume controls and turn it and use it as a lever like that to bring up the cover, and eventually pops off. Happy days. I will say another thing as well, people tube, that I've done here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but on the volume and tone knobs, the LCD screen's upside down, so my up is your down. It's crazy. On these LCD knobs, hey, the guy can speak. On these knobs here, you can see in the grooves, it's all dark and dirty. What I've used there is Monty's Relic Wax, Monty's Guitar's Relic Wax, and basically made it look really dirty, and just basically put it into the grooves, and that's what does happen. You get a lot of dirt build up in them. So, and another thing, people tube, inside these modern, it's kind of hard now because they kind of replicate it, but a lot of the old CBS Strats, the little spoke things you can see inside of them, there should be only 3 of them, and this side it's 4, so it gives it away. It's not an original, so to say. Anyway, so just going to undo the control knobs now. Just very simple. Using my good mate, Fat Max. Again, you don't really want to be kind of like cranking on anything. Nothing wants to be over tight, if that makes any sense. It wants to just be on. You don't want to. You don't want to be like winding on this kind of stuff. You're gonna break something. But this is very easy to do, people tube, and this is the order I always do it in, pretty much all the time. So now, final thing, select switch. Go there. So that's the final screw. Now the plate should just lift off, and it does. And there's the aluminium shielding guard. So I now have another spare mint green scratch plate. Then here's the aluminium shielding guard, people of the tube. So this is what it looks like. It's extremely thin, but they all had these back in the day. It wasn't until late 60s they kind of did away with these things and just went to shielding tape. I think it was late 60s. I'm pretty sure for even CBS era strats from the 60s had shielding plates under their scratch plate. But I could be wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure they did. So this is now obviously going to go underneath here like that. And we'll sort that out in a minute. I need to collect these these springs. So magnetic screwdriver. And again, all I'm doing is basically just putting them next to the screw that came out of the plate. I hope this is making some kind of sense, people. My brain is telling me that I am absolutely not making any sense whatsoever, and I'm full of rubbish. I do want to show you this. This is really cool. So, and again, I don't know how well this will show up on camera. Hopefully it will. So you can see the top of the ST62's pickup covers are yellow. They're really nicotine stained, but the bottom's white. So if I get that in the light, hopefully you can kind of see. Just the top was exposed enough to kind of like colour it. These were originally white, but they're not anymore on the top. I love that. I think that's really, really cool. I love it. So cool. And these pickups are fan-blooming-tastic. I love these pickups so much. Full-size parts. I don't know if that's the original switch or not. I'm not 100% sure. Either way. So anyway, now we need to reassemble it. So shielding plate. On top of Scott's aged scratch plates, and we need to put everything back into the plate. So I always start with the control panel. Pickups are last. So get it lined up. Start with the volume pot, the volume and the tone pots first, and hopefully this scratch plate should just go straight on. I shouldn't have to do any modification to it. Sometimes you have to kind of like make this bit bigger, like sand some of this out or sand some of the neck pocket out for it to fit, but hopefully this one should be okay. Okay, so because that one I don't have to do anything to the other one, it just went on, so I'm hoping that's what's going to happen here. And again, I'm just doing this by hand at this point in time. I'm not using anything to tighten these to the max. I just want them to be kind of like in there, I'm not after it being like, tight. I'll do that later. I just need to get it reassembled first and make sure that it works and it fits okay. Okay, come on. Now, of course, there's always one bolt that decides it just wants to go everywhere. But decides it wants to go everywhere but where it should be going. Like this one. Come on. I don't know. Go on, you want to. You want to go on there. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Let's try it upside down. Okay, we've got a bit of a problem. I don't know what's going on. If something doesn't want to go, it's not a good idea to start going, right, okay, you're going on regardless. You want to kind of stop and try and figure it out of what's going on. Is it as the threads gone? Does it need a new nut? What is the problem? Is it not going on right? What's the deal? Because this one won't go on at all. And as usual, it chooses to do this on camera. So that's great. I don't understand what's going on here. Okay, so if this happens, what I tend to do is get the other one and see if that works. And if not, we'll figure something else out. Because it feels to me that... Yeah, I was going to say, that's gone on perfectly. It feels to me that it's the nut, not the threads on the volume pot. And again, this is... But knowing my luck, this one will probably work on here now perfectly. No, it doesn't. Okay, so we've got a problem with this nut. It's either cross-threaded... Oh no, I can see it. There's actually a bit of metal stuck in it. So give me a sec, PeopleTube, I'll be back. Okay, yep, found the problem, and we are sorted. So what it was there was this tiny, tiny, tiny little piece of metal that had obviously come off the volume pots, off the thingy, and it had got stuck in the threads of this nut, washer, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a washer, it's a nut, isn't it? And basically what was going on is, as I was screwing it in, that piece of metal was blocking it. So I had to basically just take a screwdriver and just kind of try and broggle it out, so to say. And then job's a good un. So again, like I say, if something like that happens, don't go cranking on things, because you are going to break something at that point. You don't want to do that. You want to kind of like, you know, figure the problem before, you know, you kind of like start cranking on things. It's not a good thing to do. Okay, so select switch is next. Hold it from the other side. Get one screw in. Once you get one screw in, again, don't tighten it all the way down straight off the bat. Just get it in so it's kind of like semi, you know, about 90% in, and then get the other one. And then once the other one's in, you can screw that one in tight, and then screw the other one in tight. And again, you don't want anything to be kind of like, I say, too tight. It's just kind of like just enough, if you know what I mean, to hold it in place. This already looks amazing. Okay, so and I think we might have a bit of an issue on the neck side here. This side of the scratch plate, I might have to sand some of that away. This part here is perfect, but as you can hear, it creaks. I don't know if you can hear that, but I don't know. I don't know, PeopleTube. It might. No, it's not quite right. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to sand some of this away, like just with a file, and I'll do that in a second. But first things first, I want to get the pickups in. It'll make it easier to manipulate the scratch plate. So I'm going to start. I don't know why I do it, but I always start with the neck pickup. It's invariably because it's the more difficult one to get in, especially when you've got a broken. Actually, you know, I'm gonna start with the bridge pickup today. I normally start with the neck, but I'm gonna start with the bridge today, just to be different. Let's do something different. It's always good fun. Okay, so neck pickup. I try and get one screw in first. It's very fiddly, this part. It's my least favourite part of doing a scratch plate is getting the pickups back in, because I find it can be a bit tedious sometimes. Hopefully this one won't be as tedious, but job will wait to be seen. Okay, that one went in nice and easy. Okay, job's a good one. Okay, so that's the bridge pickup in, middle pickup now. Come to me, middle pickup. Okay, I'll just see. Now this is where things start to get a bit awkward. Shouldn't be too bad. And I'm sure there's like millions of people screaming at the camera right now saying, "Dave, do it like this. You're making a really ham-fisted effort at it." But I'm doing it the way I'm doing it the only way I know. And by the time you see this video, this will all be done. Anyway, moving along. Middle pickup. Easy. Nice and easy. Not hard at all. Okay, so neck pickup now. I would recommend doing the broken side of a scratch. If you're going to simulate the break in a scratch plate, I'd always recommend doing that last, because that is always a fiend. So do the good side first, and then do the broken side last. It'll make it easier on you. Because it's quite hard. Sometimes it'd be really hard to do this, because it's just like, no, I'm broken, Rumba. You broke me, so I'm going to act up like a petulant child. Okay, moving along. Okay, so they're in. Kind of roughly, oh my god, this looks insanely good. Oh my lord. I don't know how well this is coming across on camera, PeopleTube, but it looks stunning. Oh my lord. It is darker. It is a lot darker than that one. I don't know if you can see that in contrast there, maybe. But it is a lot darker. It looks absolutely amazing. So, now we have the problem of the plate here, like I say, is catching. So, it needs to sit there. That is perfect where it is, but so it's this side. I need to file a bit out. So I need to go into my toolbox of joy and find a file that will do what I want it to do. Where's the blue handled one? There it is. So I've got this blue. I've had this blue one for quite a while now. Basically, it's got one end of it is kind of like rounded over, so that works really well for getting into this kind of corner to get this bit out, and then the other side is flat, and it's just perfect for this kind of thing. And again, I'm not after taking loads of material out of the plate. I just want it to just gradually come down. And again, I'm going to use the other side, the rounded off side, to get into the corner here. So I'm not making it square. I want to retain that roundness of this corner. And then I can use the flat side on this bit here. And again, I'm sure lots of people are saying, why didn't you not check first? There's no fun in that. I like to make things difficult for myself, people with a tube. I like the challenge. I like the pressure. Especially when I'm on camera. It's incredibly good fun. But again, yeah, just little bits. Go check. We're not far off already. So again, like I say, we're not after taking tons and tons of material out of this thing. We're just taking it off. In all fairness, it seems to be more the flat edge than the round edge. But patience. Going nice and slow with stuff like this is the key. You don't want to be rushing it. You don't want to be getting impatient at it. You don't want to, and you definitely don't want to get angry at it, because if you get angry at it, forget it. You've had it. You've had it at that point. We're very, very close. It's still not quite there. I might have to take a bit out of that side. And I do need to take a bit out of the round bit as well. It's still not quite quite there. Getting close though. I'm gonna turn the camera off while I do this. You don't see it. You see what I'm doing. Kind of explain what I'm doing. It's basically the same thing. I'm just gonna keep going with this nice and slow until it's in and perfect, and then we'll talk a bit more about some other stuff. Okay, PeopleTube, jobs are good. We're in, we're sorted, done and dusted. So I've also taken this opportunity as well just to tighten these nuts. Again, not overly tight, just enough so they're in there and they're grabbed. Okay, so I'm going to put the I'll put the control knob covers back on. And goes the football. Historical accuracy the knob should be slightly at an angle. I don't like that. So I always have them straight like that. Oh my god, this looks so cool. I'm telling you, this Mr. Scott, absolute genius. How he does this stuff, I will never know. But my god, this looks insanely good. I feel like I've got a lead caught under there. Let me just check. Have we got anything caught? I don't think we have. It doesn't feel... Something doesn't feel right then. Yeah, something's not right. Hang on. Oh, I see. There we go. It was the leads, PeopleTube. This is always the nightmare of getting strats back together. There we go. Is sometimes the leads don't go in the routes properly. and it just becomes a bit of a nightmare trying to get it back together. Anyway, so that's done. So we have one other problem, which I'll talk about in but a moment. So I'm going to put these back in by hand. Oh, another thing as well, PeopleTube. Fender, back in the day, their screws were a lot smaller diameter than they are now. So what they did is they didn't actually sit like on top. Like, how to explain this? The holes that your screw goes into, modern day screws will sit kind of like perfectly in there. They will kind of like fill that kind of like, that kind of like V shape, if you will. These old Fender screws, they're a lot smaller in diameter, and they actually go inside the hole and leave a kind of like a millimeter gap around the outside of the hole in the plate, the crater, if you will. I don't know what you'd call it. I'm not very good with this kind of thing. But so these screws I'm actually putting in here are actually Fender. They're period correct Fender screws. They're a slightly smaller diameter than the ones you get today. I don't think I've got any I can quickly show. I'll have a look in a minute, PeopleTube, because I've got to keep one out because we have a slight. Well, it's not a problem. I'll talk about it in a moment. I'm just going to get all these screws in. But this guitar is looking incredible. Again, Golden Era Guitars, links in the description box below. The man is a genius. I actually really, 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 really want to get a neck off Scott at some point and a body. I want to make a 59 Strat replica. Can you guess why? But I really do. I really want to get like an aged maple neck off him, because Scott's just started to kind of like do aged maple necks, and I also want to get a kind of like a free tone burst, but I want a single ply guard and stuff like that. So I really want to make a replica of one of those, because again, I've got plenty of 60s replicas. So we're on. We have one more screw hole to do, and let me see if I've got a modern kind of like scratch plate screw, and I'll show you these ones. Hopefully I'll be able to show you anyway. Okay, PeopleTube, so I found one in my little bag of screws. I knew I'd have one in there, so I've gone for this extremely shiny one just to kind of hopefully show you a difference. So this one here, I know, and I do apologise for it blurring, but the camera doesn't actually focus when it's that close. The one here, that's the Fender period correct one for a 60s kind of CBS era Strat. And the one here, the really shiny one, is a modern day one. Hopefully you can see the difference in size. So this one sits, the new ones sit kind of like perfectly in the hole, and they cover all of this kind of like this, I don't know, the crater bit, the bit that kind of like goes down. I don't know what the word would be. Whereas the old ones, they don't. They just sit inside it, but you can kind of see the black bit of guard underneath. And I do apologise again. The LCD's upside down, so I kind of have to kind of preempt myself. So I don't know. Hopefully you can kind of see that again. I'll just show you one more time. So this is a new one. That's an old spec one. It's not actually an old screw. It's just made to look it. And again, right diameter, right spec and stuff like that. So, so that's that. So now we got a problem, PeopleTube. The shielding guard doesn't have a hole for this screw hole. So I actually do need to find a drill so I can drill a hole because I can't finish this until then. So I'm going on a drill hunt. Back in a sec. Okay, final screw in. Job's good. And like I say, the 60s, early 60s Strats, they did change in 63. The screw hole moved there, but in 62, it's always here. 1961, 60, 61, it's there. So anyway, there we are, PeopleTube. Job's a good one. Scratchplate's on. My God, that looks absolutely immensely cool. I love this guitar so much. It looks so amazing. Update. No, actually, PeopleTube, I do have to mention, I have put the original block back in this thing. It did have a what do you call it, a replica steel block in it, but I've actually taken that out, and that's in a different guitar, and I put the original one on this. The reason being that this was actually the original tremolo. This has got the original saddles, which I've been able to repair. Got new grub screws in there, and just kind of sorted it out. Because these were all knackered. When I got this was a mess, and I spent a lot of time getting these saddles back. The original Scratchplate, tremolo piece, apart from the block, is actually more accurate on top than the one it had in it to an original. It's got the right tooling marks on the saddles. They're not the right size saddles, but I don't really care about that. It's little things. But there's certain things about the tremolo base plate and the saddles that they're more accurate than the ones I had on it. So the only thing is, I've got a zinc block, which I could change out at some point if I want, but I'm quite happy with the way it is. Plus, also this guitar, I've got 5 springs in it because I broke the arm off. I did get the bit out of the tremolo, the hole, but I've decided to not ever have a tremolo arm in this guitar. So I've basically hardtailed it, put 5 springs in the back, and basically kind of like locked this down. And it feels great. I love it. And my God, this Scratchplate is insane. The only, literally, I was going to say the only thing I don't like is something, but literally there isn't anything I dislike. I've done the pickup heights as well. I always have my pickups really low. I don't like them high. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but on the bass side they're super low, and then on the treble side they're a little bit higher. But yeah, we're done. So I need to get some strings on this thing, and we'll plug it in, and we'll do a little bit of a play on it. This is not far off needing a refret, sadly, but it should be fine for a bit of a while yet. But this Scratchplate is stunning. So Scott, you're a genius. So not only is the finish on this guitar and the relic job on this guitar incredibly stunning, like, to have this Scratchplate on it now, it just looks even more amazing. I'm blown away by it. The only thing I will say is the old Scratchplate was a lot smaller, so my plectrum wear is kind of buried now. There's a bit of plectrum wear and a bit of wear under here that's actually buried underneath the guard, because this guard here was a little bit smaller around this kind of top edge than this one. This one's actually a bit bigger, but it's not a big deal at all. It still looks cool, and I still love it to bits. And like I say, this is a guitar that I'll have for the rest of my life. I absolutely adore it. So you don't need to see me restringing it, people tube. So I'm going to say thank you very much indeed now for watching this vid. Hope it's been somewhat informative. I hope there's been something you can kind of take away there if you're thinking of changing Scratchplate. If you are after replica Scratchplates, I can't recommend Scott enough. If you're after old style refinishes, I can't recommend Scott enough. This man's an absolute genius. I mean, this guitar is so perfect. The way the lacquer's checked, the actual relicing, the burst is stunning. You can see like it's got the tan lines as well. You can see where the backplate used to be. If it was ever there, kind of thing. It's just, man's a genius. Man is a genius. I don't know how he does it. I really don't know how he does it, but it's incredible. This is actually incredible. And the Scratchplates are just like the next level. Again, I would like to get at some point another body and a neck off Scott and do a replica 50s Strat. That'd be amazing. Anyway, until then, thank you very much indeed for watching this vid, people tube. If you like the videos I do here, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Really helps me out, keeps the channel going. Other than that, link for that is in the description box below. The link to Scott's page is in the description box below. There's links to my. I'm getting distracted by the guitar. I keep looking at the guitar and I just keep following my words, which is always wicked. Links to my Bandcamp and stuff like that is below. Anyway, people, I'm gonna have to go and restring this and plug it in because it looks amazing, and I can't wait to see what it looks like with strings on. So you'll see it in but a second. And thanks very much indeed for watching, and have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and goodbye now. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Look how gorgeous this looks. It's just filth. Absolutely filthy. I am so happy this guitar is mine. I'm just like over the moon. Anyway, shut up, Dave. Stop gushing. I can't stop gushing. It's too gorgeous. Anyway, see you in a bit. Well, see you in a couple of seconds, but I'll see you for another video soon. Goodbye.